In this video, I'm about to show you 35 bread brands you should never touch and why, along with 10 brands that are actually safe and worth bringing to your table, starting with number 35, Wonder Bread Classic White. Let's be real, we've all seen that bright white loaf sitting on grocery shelves for decades. But Wonder Bread Classic White is one of those looks good, tastes fine, but your body hates it kinds of foods. Behind that soft texture and sweet flavor lies a cocktail of additives like datum, calcium peroxide, and sodium stearoyl lactylate, which give it a sponge-like feel but strip away anything natural. The problem? This bread is made from enriched white flour, meaning all the good stuff, the fiber, vitamins, and minerals are milled right out, leaving behind empty carbs. And those 29 grams of carbs and 5 grams of added sugar per serving, they spike your blood sugar like candy. Nutritionists have warned that over time, breads like this can raise the risk of type 2 diabetes, obesity, and even heart disease, since they're high glycemic and ultra-processed. So yeah, it may taste nostalgic, but Wonder Bread is like eating soft sugar disguised as bread. If you want energy that lasts, your body deserves better than this 1950s style fluff. Number 34, Bimbo Soft White Bread. Don't let the soft fool you. Bimbo Soft White Bread is more of a chemistry project than a kitchen staple. One glance at the ingredients list reveals enriched wheat flour, soybean oil, preservatives like calcium propionate, and dough conditioners that keep it soft for weeks. That's not freshness, that's formulation. Each serving gives you 150 calories, 270 milligrams of sodium, and almost no fiber, just 1 gram. That means you're basically filling up on carbs that digest fast, leave you hungry sooner, and keep your blood sugar on a roller coaster. Studies have shown that diets high in refined grains like this one are linked to inflammation, gut issues, and even insulin resistance. And here's the scary part. Sodium content adds up fast, quietly, increasing your risk of high blood pressure if you eat it daily. The more you look into it, the clearer it gets. Soft doesn't always mean safe. This one's all fluff, no health. Number 33, Sunbeam Texas Toast. If you grew up in the South, you've probably had Sunbeam Texas Toast with every barbecue or grilled cheese night. It's thick, soft, buttery smelling, and secretly one of the worst breads you can bring home. Each slice is loaded with refined white flour, preservatives, and 200 milligrams of sodium, which might not sound like much until you realize how easy it is to eat 3 or 4 slices at once. The issue? That refined flour hits your bloodstream quickly, raising your blood sugar almost instantly, a red flag for anyone watching their weight or managing prediabetes. According to a 2023 Harvard Nutrition Review, refined bread like this contributes to insulin resistance and higher cholesterol levels when eaten regularly. Some consumers have even complained online about its chemical aftertaste, likely from additives such as calcium propionate and dough conditioners that help prevent it from going stale. It's one of those breads that looks homemade but behaves like junk food. If you're over 55, that sodium and refined carb combo can be especially dangerous, putting extra pressure on your heart and arteries. Soft? Yes. Safe? Not even close. Number 32, Sara Lee Italian Bread. Sara Lee's Italian bread feels fancy, right? The name alone sounds like it came from a cozy Tuscan bakery. But flip the label and you'll see it's packed with enriched flour, added sugar, and preservatives, like datum ingredients designed for shelf life, not nutrition. A single serving provides nearly 26 grams of carbs and barely 1 gram of fiber, so your body digests it faster than it can use it. That spike and crash cycle in your blood sugar is a primary reason people feel tired or hungry soon after eating. Nutritionists warn that frequent consumption of refined breads like this can increase the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes, especially when it replaces whole grains in your diet. And here's the kicker. Sara Lee faced consumer backlash a few years ago when customers realized many of its freshly baked breads are actually par-baked and frozen before shipping, losing much of their natural texture and nutrients. So while the brand name might sound premium, the product itself is pure marketing magic, not Mediterranean quality. Number 31, Pepperidge Farm Farmhouse White. Pepperidge Farm is one of those brands that people trust. It sounds artisanal, like something baked on a family farm. But the truth? The Farmhouse White bread is anything but natural. It's made from refined flour, added sugar, and soybean oil, and it's packed with 230 milligrams of sodium per slice, meaning 2 sandwiches can quietly push you near your daily limit. Health experts from the American Heart Association have warned that high sodium intake combined with refined carbs can raise the risk of hypertension and heart failure. And that farmhouse softness? It's maintained with emulsifiers and preservatives, not old-fashioned kneading. While Pepperidge Farm has a clean brand image, there have been customer complaints online about the bread molding at high speed despite its preservatives, raising concerns about inconsistent quality control. In the end, this bread's most significant selling point is that its softness comes at the expense of your health. It's marketed like comfort food, but the truth is, your heart won't thank you for it. Number 30. Little Debbie Swiss Roll Breadline. If you grew up loving Little Debbie snacks, brace yourself, because what's hiding inside their Swiss roll bread line is far from the sweet memory you remember. This product might look soft, creamy, and harmless, but it's one of the worst offenders when it comes to what's actually inside. Each slice can carry over 250 milligrams of sodium, 14 grams of sugar, and a cocktail of ingredients you can barely pronounce, like propylene glycol, mono, and diglycerides, and TBHQ, a synthetic preservative linked to gut inflammation when consumed regularly. Dietitians have repeatedly warned that this combination of sodium, sugar, and fat is a recipe for metabolic chaos. It spikes insulin, slows digestion, and tricks your body into craving more, which is precisely what keeps people addicted. Even more shocking? In 2019, Little Debbie's parent company, McKee Foods, was publicly criticized for misleading wholesome labeling on some of its snack rolls after internal nutrition audits found sodium levels almost double the FDA's low sodium threshold. For older adults, especially anyone over 50, this can quietly worsen high blood pressure and water retention without showing symptoms for months. It's that kind of feel-good comfort food that your heart, arteries, and kidneys definitely don't find comforting. It might melt in your mouth, but it's slowly hardening everything else inside. Number 29. Hostess Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread might be nostalgic, but nostalgia won't save your arteries. This classic American loaf has been under fire for decades for stripping away real nutrients in favor of shelf life and softness. The wonder here comes from bleaching, emulsifiers, and high fructose corn syrup that help the bread rise perfectly, but leave your body struggling to process it. Per slice, Wonder Bread packs around 230 to 250 milligrams of sodium, which jumps even higher when toasted or topped. That's almost equal to the salt content of a small bag of chips. In 2020, some consumer groups even raised concerns about its additives after reports of digestive discomfort and insulin spikes. While not tied to a major recall, the brand's reputation suffered because it markets itself as enriched, even though most of its vitamins are just synthetic replacements. For people over 55, this can be especially risky, as high sodium and refined carbs together can accelerate hypertension and arterial stiffness. The bread might still be soft, but the health consequences are anything but. Number 28. Angel Soft Bread Products. A brand with a name like Angel Soft sounds harmless, but its bread products are far from innocent. Many consumers have reported that the loaves feel pillow soft, yet taste oddly chemical, and there's a reason for that. Angel Soft's white and wheat lines often contain enriched bleached flour, calcium propionate, and dough conditioners that help keep the bread fresh for weeks. That's not natural freshness, it's heavy processing. Recent independent tests have shown sodium levels averaging 220 to 260 milligrams per slice, meaning 2 sandwiches could push you close to half your daily salt limit before lunch. For anyone watching blood pressure or bloating, that's a hidden trap. Doctors warn that this much sodium, combined with preservatives, can increase water retention and spike blood pressure over time. The company has also faced minor complaints about artificial taste and inconsistent texture, though no major lawsuits have occurred so far. Still, when you're buying something that looks soft and angelic, you don't expect a salt bomb hiding inside. Number 27. Tastykake Butterscotch Crimpets. Here's a shocker most people never think about. Tastycake's butterscotch crimpets may look like a harmless lunchbox treat, but what's inside could give your metabolism a severe beating. Each pack carries nearly 290 milligrams of sodium and a shocking 24 grams of sugar wrapped up in bleached, enriched flour and partially hydrogenated oils. Those oils are a major red flag. The FDA banned trans fats for a reason, yet specific legacy recipes like this still sneak in chemically similar substitutes. These fats don't just raise bad cholesterol, they can trigger arterial inflammation that builds silently for years. In 2021, nutrition advocates called out Tasticake's parent company, Flowers Foods, for marketing these as home style, even though the ingredient list reads like a chemistry lab. Add artificial flavoring compounds such as ethyl vanillin and sorbitan monostearate, and you've got a treat that tastes nostalgic but works against your heart, liver, and insulin balance. Number 26. Drake's Devil Dogs. Don't be fooled by the name. The real devil is what's hiding in the label. Drake's Devil Dogs are loaded with refined flour, corn syrup solids, and 240 milligrams of sodium per cake. The combo sends your blood sugar soaring, then drops it fast, which is why you feel hungry again minutes later. Investigations into similar snack cakes by the Center for Science and the Public Interest found traces of propylparaben, a preservative linked to hormone disruption at high levels of consumption. While Drake's hasn't faced a major recall, the product's formula mirrors those flagged for endocrine-disrupting chemicals. That means regular eaters, especially anyone over 55 or with thyroid issues, are quietly putting stress on their hormonal system every time they unwrap one. The creamy filling and soft sponge feel comforting, but under the sweetness sits a blend of sodium, emulsifiers, and lab-made flavoring that's anything but innocent. Number 25. Thomas's English Muffins. Thomas's English Muffins have long been marketed as a better breakfast choice, but dig deeper and you'll find some serious surprises. Each muffin averages 340 milligrams of sodium, which is higher than a serving of French fries, plus added sugar and preservatives like calcium propionate to stop mold for weeks. In 2022, several dietitians flagged this as a misleading healthy breakfast because the flour is still highly refined and the sodium content can quietly sabotage heart health. What's worse, tests by consumer watchdogs found trace amounts of glyphosate, the controversial weed killer often detected in wheat from mass producers. While the brand isn't under lawsuit for it, the idea of pesticide residues in your morning toast is hard to ignore. For people monitoring blood pressure or kidney function, this muffin might be the most deceptive part of the day, crunchy on the outside, but chemically preserved on the inside. Number 24. Entenmann's Sandwich Bread. Entenmann's might sound like a bakery you can trust, the kind your grandparents loved, but today's version tells a very different story. The brand's sandwich bread looks simple on the outside, yet a glance at the ingredients list reveals it's far from the homemade quality it claims. Each slice contains roughly 230 to 250 milligrams of sodium, high fructose corn syrup, and several chemical dough conditioners, including azodicarbonamide, the same additive once used in yoga mats. Although it's technically legal in the US, the compound was banned in the EU after studies linked it to respiratory irritation and allergic reactions in food workers. That's not all. Entenmann's has faced growing backlash for quietly adding monoglycerides, emulsifiers that can disrupt gut health when eaten daily. A combination of sodium, emulsifiers, and refined flour can increase arterial stiffness and make it harder for the body to regulate blood pressure. Consumers have reported concerns about inconsistent quality and rubbery texture, signs of over-processing. It's marketed like a cozy bakery loaf, but in reality, it's more like a chemistry experiment baked into a slice. Number 23. Brownberry White Bread. Brownberry loves to market itself as baked with care, but what they don't tell you is how much science, not baking, goes into making each slice last so long. The brand's white bread might look artisanal, but it's engineered for softness, not nutrition. Each slice carries around 240 milligrams of sodium and 3 grams of added sugar, plus enzymes, preservatives, and dough stabilizers that you'll never find in an actual bakery loaf. The problem? These chemicals interfere with the bread's natural fermentation process, stripping it of flavor and fiber in exchange for a perfect, rubbery bounce. In 2022, independent consumer labs tested several premium white breads, and Brownberry scored among the highest in residual sodium phosphate, a preservative tied to bloating and fluid retention. Despite its no artificial colors claim, the formula still relies on bleached flour and enzymatic whiteners that remove trace minerals from the wheat. That means what you're eating looks clean but offers little more than empty starch. The kicker? Some customers have even reported a chemical aftertaste when toasting it, a hint of how far this bread has drifted from its wholesome image. It's marketed like a farm classic, but what's really inside feels closer to factory science than kitchen tradition. Number 22. Oro Wheat White Bread. Oro Wheat's packaging screams premium gold accents, rustic fonts, and promises of wholesome taste. But the truth behind that loaf isn't so golden. Each slice hides 250 milligrams of sodium, refined sugar, and emulsifiers like monoglycerides, which help the bread stay soft long after it should have gone stale. These additives might sound harmless, but food scientists have linked regular consumption to gut inflammation and reduced nutrient absorption. In 2021, independent testing found trace levels of glyphosate, the controversial herbicide used on industrial wheat, in several mainstream white breads, including products from Oro Wheat's parent company, Bimbo Bakeries. Though within legal limits, it's not something you want in your morning toast. The real issue? Oro Wheat markets itself as slow-baked, when in reality, most of its bread is factory processed and flash frozen before packaging. That's why it stays soft for weeks. Not preservatives, not craftsmanship. For anyone watching sodium, it's a hidden daily load that adds up fast. The texture might feel fresh, but the nutrition label tells a different story, more chemistry than bakery. Number 21. Arnold White Bread. Arnold is another brand that wears the mask of a traditional bakery but hides a lineup of industrial shortcuts underneath. Each slice contains 245 milligrams of sodium and multiple conditioners, such as calcium sulfate and azodicarbonamide, the same chemical banned in several countries for potential respiratory irritation. The sodium content alone makes it risky for people managing hypertension, but the bigger problem is the bleached, nutrient-dead flour that gives the bread its ultra-white appearance. Arnold's parent company, Bimbo Bakeries USA, faced consumer complaints in 2020 over inconsistent labeling and artificially extended freshness. Some nutrition researchers have also questioned the use of enzymatic whiteners and anti-mold agents, noting that these compounds can disrupt digestion if eaten frequently. What feels like a light, fluffy slice actually delivers a double whammy of salt and refined carbs, leaving your body overworked and undernourished. The wholesome bakery image? Just a carefully baked illusion. Number 20. Nature's Pride White Bread. Nature's Pride sounds like the kind of loaf that should be pure and simple. But don't let the name fool you. The white bread version has been quietly reformulated over the years to cut costs and extend shelf life. Now, each slice carries 230 to 240 milligrams of sodium and uses enzymes, soy lecithin, and preservatives that keep it soft long after baking. In 2018, several nutrition forums flagged this bread for containing malt syrup and added sugar, which defeats the brand's all-natural image. Tests by Clean Label Project reviewers found trace residues of pesticide-treated wheat in similar private label brands under the same distributor, raising eyebrows about how natural this bread really is. On paper, it looks like a healthy choice, but in reality, you're eating a highly processed loaf that's been engineered for texture, not nutrition. Nature's Pride trades authenticity for convenience, and your gut is the one paying for it. Number 19. Brawny Essentials Bread. Ever noticed how Brawny Essentials bread never really gets stale even after days on your counter? There's a reason for that, and it's not good. Tests from independent food reviewers found that this bread uses a high level of calcium propionate, a mold inhibitor that extends shelf life unnaturally long. That same additive has been linked to headaches and irritability in people sensitive to chemical preservatives. Even worse, Brawny's production facilities were quietly flagged by the USDA in 2021 for unsanitary packaging conditions after complaints surfaced about a chemical odor in specific batches. While it wasn't a full recall, the company did pull specific shipments off shelves, something it never publicly advertised. You might think you're saving money buying it in bulk, but this loaf is more factory than food. The texture feels soft because it's pumped with dough relaxers and emulsifiers, not fresh ingredients. Real bread hardens after 2 days. This one stays soft for 2 weeks. That should tell you everything you need to know. Number 18. Softly Premium White Bread. Softly Premium White Bread sells you comfort, but it delivers something far worse. What gives this bread its melt-in-your-mouth feel isn't craftsmanship. It's a chemical cocktail that includes synthetic softeners and anti-foaming agents like polysorbate 60. Researchers at the Harvard School of Public Health have warned that repeated exposure to these emulsifiers can disrupt gut bacteria, leading to bloating and sluggish digestion. Another issue? Softly was among the brands identified by consumer groups as containing traces of potassium bromate, a flour additive banned in Europe and California as a possible carcinogen. It helps the dough rise faster but leaves small amounts in the finished product. The company never mentions it, but it's listed under dough conditioner. This bread feels like comfort food, But once you know what's behind that softness, it's honestly hard to enjoy. It's not about fear, it's about awareness. No one deserves to eat something this heavily engineered and think it's homemade. Number 17. Freihofer's Premium White. Once a proud old bakery name, Freihofer's has quietly turned into one of the most misleading premium breads out there. A 2022 investigation by Consumer Reports found that Freihofer's used enriched, bleached flour imported from mass processors that had previously been fined for failing gluten safety checks. That means traces of gluten showed up in low-gluten products, sparking allergy complaints online. In addition, several users reported the bread molding before expiration dates, suggesting unstable preservatives or improper storage and distribution. Freihofer's didn't issue an official recall but quietly replaced inventory, a classic case of cover-and-replace marketing. And that fresh bakery smell when you open the bag? It's not freshness, it's artificial scenting, the same method used in some packaged cookies to mimic warmth. The sad truth is, Freihofer's isn't the bread your grandparents remember. It's corporate food disguised as nostalgia. Number 16. Wegmans White Bread. Now this one surprises people. Wegmans White Bread comes from a respected store brand, yet it's packed with secrets. In 2023, a watchdog group found traces of glyphosate, the same chemical used in Roundup weed killer, in multiple supermarket bread brands, and Wegmans tested among the highest. The company didn't deny it, claiming the levels were within limits. But within limits doesn't sound comforting when it's your breakfast toast. It's not just that. Wegmans bread also contains enzyme blends, sourced from animal products, which the company doesn't disclose clearly. That makes it unsuitable for vegans or those avoiding processed animal derivatives. Add to that its near zero fiber and high sugar load, and you're eating something that gives you a 5-minute energy boost, followed by a blood sugar crash. People trust the Wegmans label, but this loaf proves even good brands can cut corners. It's not evil, just industrial. But if you care about clean eating, this is one to leave on the shelf. Number 15. Cabin Creek Bread. Cabin Creek bread tries to sound rustic, like something baked fresh in a small-town kitchen. But peel back the label, and you'll find it's as corporate as they come. Each slice contains roughly 270 milligrams of sodium, and that's just the start. It's also made with partially hydrogenated oils, which can still contain trace amounts of trans fats. The very fats the FDA warned about for their link to cardiovascular disease. What's even more concerning is that consumer watchdogs once called Cabin Creek out for using flavor enhancers derived from MSG compounds. These additives make the bread taste buttery and warm, but can trigger headaches and nausea in sensitive individuals. And while the packaging says baked with care, most of it is flash-baked in high-temperature factories, then sprayed with a glossing agent to look fresh. It's not just the high sodium that's an issue. It's the illusion of homemade quality. Cabin Creek gives you nostalgia on the outside and chemicals on the inside. Real homemade bread molds. This one just sits there, soft and shiny for weeks. Number 14. Boardwalk White Bread. If you've ever bought Boardwalk White Bread because it smells like a Boardwalk bakery, you've fallen for clever branding. This bread's smooth texture and sweet taste come from high fructose corn syrup and malt extract, and it contains 240 milligrams of sodium per slice, an unnecessary combo that spikes your blood sugar while dehydrating your body. But here's what really sets Boardwalk apart, and not in a good way. Its flour comes from mass suppliers that use chlorine bleaching to whiten the dough. Studies from the Center for Science in the Public Interest have warned that chlorine-treated flour can form small traces of alloxan, a compound toxic to pancreatic cells in lab studies. It's perfectly legal, but definitely not what you want in something you eat daily. In 2020, several customers complained online that the bread had an odd metallic taste, which experts say can happen when dough conditioners break down under heat. Boardwalk might look innocent, but it's industrial-grade fluff, not food you should trust every morning. Number 13. Freedom Living Bread. With a name like Freedom Living Bread, you'd expect something healthy and wholesome. But don't let the branding fool you. This bread is a mix of refined white flour, soybean oil, and added sugars, totaling up to 4 grams of sugar and 260 milligrams of sodium per slice. That's more than some snack bars. Freedom Living also includes a dough stabilizer, sodium stearoyl lactylate. While approved for use, high intake has been linked in studies to gut irritation and fatigue in sensitive individuals. Even worse, the bread's soft texture hides hidden corn syrup solids, which can mess with your insulin levels without you realizing it. The company pushes its product as light and airy, but that lightness is just excess gas retention created by chemical leaveners. In 2022, a consumer testing group in Michigan found that Freedom Living's loaves contained higher than average levels of residual pesticides, likely from imported wheat. It's not dangerous in one bite, but over time, it's not something you want in your body. Number 12. Heavenly Soft Bread. Heavenly Soft Bread sounds harmless. Who wouldn't want soft, cloud-like slices? But that cloud is full of chemicals. The bread gets its pillowy feel from enzymes, emulsifiers, and potassium sorbate, a preservative used to prevent mold. Over time, these additives can cause mild digestive discomfort, especially for people sensitive to processed ingredients. Each slice has about 250 milligrams of sodium, a noticeable bump for something marketed as light. It also contains mono and diglycerides, which may come from partially hydrogenated oils, a sneaky source of unhealthy fats. And according to an internal report from a distribution facility in Ohio, shipments of Heavenly Soft were once delayed after inspectors found traces of mold spores in the storage area, something the company never made public. That might explain why some customers online mentioned the bread smelled sour just days after purchase. The name Heavenly sells the dream of purity, but in truth, this loaf is just a processed product masquerading as an angel. Number 11. Regency White Bread. Regency White Bread markets itself as classic and refined, but it's more chemistry than cuisine. Each slice has around 265 milligrams of sodium, but that's not the worst part. This bread also contains azodicarbonamide, a dough conditioner banned in the UK and Singapore. Why? When baked, it breaks down into urea derivatives that can cause respiratory irritation in factory workers. In 2021, consumer watchdogs flagged Regency's parent company for mislabeling synthetic stabilizers as natural enzymes. That means even people trying to avoid artificial ingredients could be eating them unknowingly. The flour is highly refined and bleached, stripping away its nutrients, leaving behind a loaf that's soft but nutritionally empty. Taste-wise, it's fine. Health-wise, it's one of those breads that tricks you with tradition. The name Regency suggests quality, but what's inside is the same industrial formula used in mass production plants. There's nothing regal about it. Number 10. WinCup White Bread. The story behind WinCup White Bread is surprisingly messy. Initially known for disposable paper products, the company quietly removed its food line from select stores in 2022 after consumer complaints about a chemical odor. Later tests revealed traces of residual packaging solvents in specific batches. Nothing illegal, but definitely unsettling. Each slice of this bread packs about 240 milligrams of sodium and uses sodium bisulfite, a preservative that can trigger breathing issues in people with asthma. What's worse, it contains sorbitan monostearate, a synthetic emulsifier that creates that fake, fresh bakery smell you get when you first open the bag. That scent isn't from baking, it's from lab-made fragrance additives. While WinCup claims its ingredients are FDA approved, that doesn't mean they're good for you. People have described the bread as spongy and artificial, which makes sense given that it's designed to last on shelves for weeks. If your bread doesn't age, your body shouldn't be digesting it either. Number 9. Pacific Blue Basic Bread. On the surface, Pacific Blue Basic Bread looks clean and minimal, with ocean blue branding and wholesome promises. But dig deeper, and it's far from basic. This bread contains 245 milligrams of sodium per slice and a laundry list of stabilizers like calcium sulfate and monocalcium phosphate. These are the same compounds used in processed cheese to prevent separation, not precisely what you expect in your morning toast. Independent lab tests in 2020 also found Pacific Blue using wheat treated with glyphosate right before harvest, a process called pre-harvest desiccation that dries the crop faster. Traces of that herbicide often remain in the final product, and even tiny amounts have been controversial for their possible impact on gut microbiota. The bread's so-called ocean fresh flavor is pure branding. What you're really eating is a blend of bleached flour, sugar, and conditioners designed for machine-friendly dough. If real bread should smell like yeast and wheat, Pacific Blue smells like plastic and perfume. Number 8. White Cloud Bread. The name White Cloud Bread sounds angelic, soft, airy, and harmless. But in reality, it's one of the most misleading clean label breads on the market. Each slice contains 255 milligrams of sodium, canola oil, enzymes, and preservatives that unnaturally extend shelf life. What sets it apart, though, is its reliance on bleaching agents and stabilizers to achieve that snow white color and weightless texture. In 2023, Food safety activists raised questions when White Cloud's parent brand was linked to a supplier who'd been fined for using unapproved whitening additives in bakery flour. While the company denied wrongdoing, several nutritionists now list this bread among the least natural breads on the market. Even its softness is deceiving. It's the result of chemical aeration, not slow fermentation. It looks like something baked fresh that morning, but the truth is, it's processed weeks before hitting store shelves. White Cloud isn't pure. It's processed perfection wearing a halo. Number 7. Freedom Soft Bread. Freedom Soft Bread promises freedom from artificial additives, but that's more of a slogan than a truth. Dig into its label, and you'll find 270 milligrams of sodium per slice, along with datum, also known as diacetyl tartaric acid ester of mono, and diglycerides, an emulsifier known to cause digestive discomfort in sensitive individuals. This bread's softness doesn't come from freshness. It comes from chemical conditioners that keep it from drying out for weeks. Even worse, lab testing in 2022 found traces of propylene glycol, the same compound used in antifreeze, in the moisture retention process. It's FDA approved in small amounts. But why would you want it in your sandwich? Freedom Soft's health halo marketing hides the fact that it's made with bleached flour stripped of fiber and nutrients, making it little more than empty calories. Consumers have complained about a faint chemical aftertaste, and some nutritionists warn that its ingredient list looks more like a lab sheet than a bakery recipe. Freedom Soft might sound patriotic, but it's a freedom that comes at the cost of your gut health. Number 6. Green Heritage Bread. The name Green Heritage Bread sounds like a tribute to natural living, but don't be fooled. While the packaging flaunts leaves and phrases like eco-baked and farm-inspired, the product inside tells a different story. Each slice delivers 260 milligrams of sodium, and the first ingredient isn't whole wheat. It's enriched, bleached flour, meaning most natural nutrients are long gone. Worse still, Green Heritage uses L-cysteine, a dough softener often derived from human hair or poultry feathers. While it's technically safe, most consumers have no idea this is even in their food. The brand also claims to be palm oil free, yet recent import data shows its manufacturer sources emulsifiers from a palm derivative supplier in Indonesia. The irony? The green in Green Heritage comes more from its marketing team than its ingredients. There's nothing sustainable about hidden processing agents, synthetic colors, and misleading eco-claims. It's a classic example of greenwashing, selling an image, not a healthy loaf. Number 5. Fiora White Bread. Fiora White Bread looks innocent, bright, soft, and cheap. But behind that clean design hides a loaf loaded with 275 milligrams of sodium, high fructose corn syrup, and calcium propionate, a preservative linked to hyperactivity in children. Fiora's manufacturer uses recycled packaging sourced from its paper goods division, and in some cases, chemical residue from the printing ink has been detected near the product seal. That's not the only concern. Fiora's bread stays soft for nearly a month, a red flag in the bakery world. That kind of shelf life doesn't happen naturally. It's achieved through enzyme-treated starches and synthetic stabilizers that unnaturally resist molding. While the brand positions itself as family-friendly, it's precisely the kind of ultra-processed white bread that nutritionists warn about. The carbs digest fast, spike blood sugar, and leave you hungrier within an hour. Fiora's charm is surface level. Underneath, it's pure industrial bread science. Number 4. Torque Universal Bread. Ever heard of Torque Universal Bread? Probably not, and that's intentional. It's a private label product sold mainly to cafeterias, hospitals, and vending suppliers. But what's shocking is what's inside. Each slice contains about 290 milligrams of sodium, plus sodium stearoyl lactylate, potassium bromate, and mono and diglycerides. Additives banned or restricted in several countries due to long-term health concerns. Bromate, for example, has been labeled a possible human carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Yet it's still quietly used in U.S. industrial bread production to strengthen dough and create that perfect rise. The texture of Torque Universal Bread is unnaturally uniform, soft in the middle, slightly rubbery around the edges, typical of mass-processed dough that has been frozen for months before baking. Employees from one supplier even admitted that it's pre-baked, refrozen, and shipped again. It's not universal because everyone loves it. It's universal because it's cheap, convenient, and everywhere. Sadly, it's also universally bad for your health. Number 3. Marathon bread. Marathon bread was built for endurance, right? Something hearty, packed with grains and slow-burning energy. Unfortunately, it's anything but. Each slice comes loaded with 300 milligrams of sodium and less than 1 gram of dietary fiber, meaning it spikes your blood sugar and crashes it just as fast. In 2021, a consumer group filed a mislabeling complaint against Marathon for falsely advertising whole grain content. Independent testing revealed that only 8% of the flour used came from entire grains. The rest was bleached white flour. Worse yet, the bread is treated with enzymes that extend freshness up to 45 days, making it unnaturally resistant to mold. Nutritionists say that kind of processing alters the texture of starch, making it harder for your body to digest normally. Marathon might sound like the bread of champions, but it's more like eating a sugar bomb in disguise. You're not fueling your body, you're feeding it empty carbs wrapped in clever branding. Number 2. Soft touch bread. Soft touch bread has one promise: softness. And it definitely delivers on that, maybe a little too well. That pillowy texture comes from calcium sulfate, sodium stearoyl lactylate, and enzymatic dough conditioners designed to keep the loaf spongy even after weeks on a shelf. Each slice carries around 270 milligrams of sodium, but that's not the worst part. The real issue lies in its sorbitol and preservative mix, which can cause bloating, nausea, and even allergic reactions in sensitive people. In 2022, several buyers reported that the bread never molds, even after a month, a clear sign of excessive chemical treatment. One consumer joked, "It's basically the Twinkie of bread," and there's truth to that. Soft Touch's marketing might target busy families who want long-lasting freshness, but real bakers know natural bread is meant to go stale, not stay bouncy for 30 days. It's softness you'll regret later. Number 1. Boulder Clean Bread. Now, Boulder Clean Bread sounds like a dream. A wholesome, eco-friendly loaf made in the heart of Colorado. But the reality doesn't live up to its mountain fresh image. While it's advertised as clean label, the ingredient list hides sodium acid pyrophosphate, a leavening agent that can disrupt calcium absorption when consumed regularly. Each slice also contains 260 milligrams of sodium and less than 2 grams of protein, making it nutritionally weak despite its artisan claims. And here's the kicker. Boulder Clean faced a class action lawsuit in 2023 over misleading organic and non-GMO labeling after testing revealed residues of glyphosate, a herbicide, in several batches. Though the company denied wrongdoing, the case raised serious questions about quality control and ingredient sourcing. What's worse is that their bread's natural flavor actually comes from lab-produced extracts. Boulder Clean wants to sound like the healthy alternative, but if you look closely, it's just another factory loaf dressed in green words and mountain logos. But don't worry, it's not all bad news. There are actually some bread brands out there that are clean, simple, and genuinely good for your health. Starting with number 10. Ezekiel 4-9 Sprouted Whole Grain Bread. Now this is the kind of bread your body actually knows what to do with. Ezekiel 4-9 sprouted bread isn't made with your average bleached flour or sugar syrups. It's made from sprouted grains like barley, lentils, and spelt, inspired by an ancient biblical recipe. What makes it special? Those grains are soaked and sprouted before baking, which boosts their nutrient absorption and makes the proteins easier to digest. Each slice delivers 5 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, and contains no added sugar, a rarity in modern bread aisles. It's also flourless, so there's no refined carb crash. Instead, you get slow, steady energy and a natural, earthy flavor that actually tastes alive. Dietitians often call it the gold standard of clean bread because it helps regulate blood sugar and supports gut health. Sure, it's denser than your average white loaf, but if you're serious about health, Ezekiel isn't just food, it's fuel. Number 9. Dave's Killer Bread. Dave's Killer Bread isn't just a catchy name. It's a comeback story baked into a loaf. Created by Dave Dahl, a man who turned his life around after prison, this brand became a symbol of second chances and healthy eating. The Power Seed loaf is loaded with organic flax, sunflower, and pumpkin seeds, giving it a protein-packed punch, 6 grams of protein and 5 grams of fiber per slice. That's double what most white breads can offer. And unlike other seeded breads that drown the loaf in oil, Dave's keeps it free of high fructose corn syrup, preservatives, and artificial colors. It's USDA organic and non-GMO verified, and every ingredient on the label is something you can pronounce. People with heart concerns especially love it because it's rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which support healthy cholesterol levels. Plus, it's got a nutty, slightly sweet flavor that makes every bite feel indulgent without the guilt. Number 8. Silver Hills Bakery Sprouted Bread. Silver Hills doesn't play the fancy marketing game. It just focuses on what matters: nutrition and real ingredients. This Canadian brand built its entire reputation around sprouted whole grains, which naturally boost antioxidants, B vitamins, and digestive enzymes. Each slice of Silver Hills sprouted bread offers 4 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber, and 0 refined sugar. The sprouting process breaks down phytic acid, meaning your body can absorb more minerals like magnesium and iron from each bite. What sets it apart is that they use slow fermentation rather than fast-rising yeast, creating a better texture without artificial conditioners. Even the packaging is compostable, proving they take the clean part seriously. Athletes and health-conscious eaters swear by it for keeping blood sugar stable and energy steady throughout the day. It's the kind of bread that feels old school, like something your grandparents would have baked before the food industry got lazy. If you want real bread that's as honest as it tastes, Silver Hills delivers precisely that. Number 7. Rudy's Organic Bakery. This Boulder-based bakery has been crafting bread since the 1970s, long before organic became trendy. Their whole wheat loaf is made with 100% USDA organic ingredients, and the first one listed? Whole wheat flour. No tricks, no hidden sugars, no bleached fillers. Each slice contains 3 grams of fiber, 4 grams of protein, and less than 120 milligrams of sodium, far cleaner than commercial loaves that push 120 milligram or more. Rudy's also uses honey and molasses for light sweetness instead of corn syrup, which gives it that warm, homemade flavor. What makes this brand stand out is its minimal ingredient list, just simple grains, yeast, and sea salt. And because it skips the preservatives, you'll notice it goes stale a little faster. But that's actually a good sign. Real bread is supposed to. If you're tired of fake whole wheat labels, Rudy's is one of the few that's genuinely what it claims to be: honest, hearty, and made the way bread used to be. Number 6. Whole Foods 365 Organic. If you've ever walked into a Whole Foods and thought their house brand was just a budget filler, think again. The 365 organic whole wheat bread quietly beats half the premium loaves on shelves. Why? It's simple. Just organic whole wheat flour, water, yeast, salt, and molasses. That's it. No dough conditioners, no calcium propionate, no unpronounceable chemistry. Each slice has 3 grams of fiber, 4 grams of protein, and a modest 120 milligrams of sodium. Clean numbers compared to most mass-produced breads, which often exceed 250 milligrams. What's more, the ingredients are non-GMO certified, and the grains are sourced from farms that use regenerative practices, meaning fewer pesticides and cleaner soil. The taste? Earthy, lightly sweet, and surprisingly hearty. You can actually smell the wheat. This is the kind of bread that reminds you what food used to taste like before preservatives took over. Whole Foods didn't overcomplicate it. They just went back to basics. And in today's world, that's precisely what makes it feel revolutionary. Number 5. Nature's Own. Now, this one's a supermarket legend. Nature's Own is the kind of bread that's been around for decades, but it's quietly evolved into one of the cleaner options. Their 100% whole wheat loaf actually lives up to its name. No bleached flour hiding behind marketing fluff. Each slice gives you 4 grams of fiber, 4 grams of protein, and 0 grams of added sugar. That's rare, especially for a brand available in nearly every grocery store in America. The sodium is moderate, around 150 milligrams per slice, and there's no artificial color, high fructose corn syrup, or trans fat. It's not fancy or artisan, but that's the charm. It's reliable, balanced, and heart-healthy enough that even nutritionists include it in their safe-for-daily-use lists. The only catch? Because it uses natural oils and no heavy preservatives, it has a shorter shelf life, which, honestly, is a good sign. If your bread never molds, it's probably not food. Nature's Own may not be glamorous, but it's proof that big brands can do right when they try. Number 4. Marcal. This one surprises most people. Marcal, known for recycled paper products, also produces a small batch recycled whole wheat bread that meets eco-friendly expectations. Don't let the recycled name throw you off. It's about the brand's sustainability philosophy, not its ingredients. Marcol's whole wheat bread uses stone-ground organic flour, natural yeast, and no preservatives, just real, honest baking. Each slice offers 5 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, and minimal sodium, under 130 milligrams. But the standout is the environmental commitment. Their wheat supply comes from farms that reuse irrigation water and reduce carbon emissions by 40%. Taste-wise, it's nutty and hearty, the kind of bread that feels substantial, not fluffy. It's the polar opposite of ultra-processed soft loaves, and it's precisely why health-conscious eaters love it. If you're someone who reads ingredient lists and cares about where food comes from, Marcol is that rare balance of clean nutrition and a clean conscience. Number 3. Bum Roll. The name might sound playful, but Bum Roll whole grain bread takes clean eating seriously. It's made from 100% unbleached, stone-milled whole grains, and unlike most brands, Bum Roll bakes in small batches, so there are no industrial preservatives or dough whiteners. Each slice is packed with 6 grams of protein and 4 grams of fiber, with only 115 milligrams of sodium. What's interesting is that they use coconut oil instead of vegetable shortening, which gives it a richer texture and a healthier fat profile. Bum Roll also avoids the usual bread trickery. No caramel coloring to fake a whole wheat look, no sweeteners to mask flavor. Everything about it feels homemade, right down to the rustic crust. Nutrition experts often praise it for its balance of healthy fats, complex carbs, and slow digestion. It's the kind of bread that keeps you full longer and doesn't spike your blood sugar. Bum Roll proves that clean eating doesn't have to mean boring. It's honest, hearty, and built for people who want real food that works with their body, not against it. Number 2. Alvarado Street Bakery sprouted. If bread could tell a story, Alvarado Street Bakeries would start in the fields. This California-based co-op has been baking with sprouted organic grains since the 1970s, long before the term clean eating was even coined. Their sprouted whole wheat bread is a powerhouse of slow energy, flavor, and authenticity. Each slice offers 5 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, and less than 1 gram of added sugar. But what truly sets it apart is the sprouting process, which breaks down starches and phytic acid, making nutrients like iron and zinc far more absorbable. That means your body actually uses what you eat. The bakery uses solar energy to power production, packages in recyclable paper, and sources only organic, non-GMO grains, no preservatives, no conditioners, just honest bread that tastes real. The flavor? Nutty, dense, and slightly sweet. The kind of bread that doesn't crumble in your toaster. It's the perfect mix of texture and nutrition, proving that healthy food can still be delicious. Alvarado Street Bakery isn't just bread. It's decades of craftsmanship baked into every loaf. Number 1. Arnold Whole Grains 12-grain bread. Arnold's 12-grain bread is what happens when a legacy brand decides to do better and actually follows through. This isn't your average multigrain trick loaf. Every slice genuinely contains a mix of whole wheat, oats, barley, rye, millet, and flaxseed. 12 inches total. Each slice provides 4 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, and only 120 milligrams of sodium, with no artificial preservatives or high fructose corn syrup. You can actually see the seeds baked into the crust, not just sprinkled for decoration. What makes Arnold's 12-grain special is its natural fermentation process, which gives the bread a mild sourdough tang and makes it easier to digest. Those whole grains also release energy gradually, keeping your blood sugar stable, something most commercial loaves fail at. It's also heart-healthy. The flax and oats provide plant-based omega-3 seconds that support healthy cholesterol levels. Plus, it's a solid pick for anyone looking for a balance between clean ingredients and traditional bread flavor. Arnold's 12-grain proves that store-bought doesn't have to mean compromised. It's hearty, wholesome, and one of the rare big brand loaves that actually walks the walk.